What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we're going to go ahead and talk Need for Speed Heat. So it's been a while where I've kind of just sat down and talked about my expectations going into this game. I've talked about specific features and specific things that have changed through gameplay, but I haven't really talked about what I think, like, properly. Today we're going to sit down and we're going to kind of just lay the groundwork out for what I'm expecting out of Need for Speed Heat, where we are currently and all that kind of good stuff. Now, Ben Walk did say that a bunch of YouTubers will hopefully be playing the game and getting some hands-on time soon.
I'm not saying anything, but you can take off that what you will.
But yeah, with all that being put to the side, this is all based off, you know, stuff I've already played at Gamescom, you know, obviously all the information that has rolled out, and we're literally going to talk about absolutely everything. The gameplay in the background is literally just going to be leftover stuff from Gamescom that I've seen, so at least you've got something Heat related in the background and it's not just this. Anyway, let's go ahead and get straight into this. So we're going to start off with the positives, because there is a lot more positives than negatives. There's a few worries, but I think those are a little bit different to negatives. Negatives are the things I explicitly don't like. Positives. So first things first, let's talk the atmosphere. I made a video about the atmosphere, and this is one of the things which I actually have talked about on the channel. I think Heat is really coming with some heat. You get it? The atmosphere this time round is so much better than Payback. It actually feels like they're aiming for, you know, a gritty, illegal world. It wasn't really portrayed that well in all of the release footage. All of the release footage has not done it justice. I honestly think the release footage has been pretty terrible overall. The rollout of information has not been anywhere near where it should be, and I've again talked about this in the past, but the actual atmosphere in the game is much better. At Gamescom behind closed doors, we got shown the first few cutscenes and the first few missions. I'm not going to ruin anything, but all I'm going to say is it's a homage to the older Need for Speed games and feels a lot more gritty and a lot more illegal than Payback or 2015 did. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say if you're expecting a stellar story, Need for Speed is going to supply it to you in abundance, because it never has been that series. I don't see any reason why it can't be that going forward, but it's just your kind of standard Need for Speed, like, cheesy, cringy story. Don't really go into this expecting, you know, like a Last of Us 2 thriller. That's not really what it is. But it sets the tone for the atmosphere. You know, it's over the top, cheese, action movie, Fast and Furious kind of thing. I'm doing this with my hands, I'm moving side to side. Yeah, sick, it's good, I love it, like, it's nice, nice, nice. How we're going to do this is we're going to go one positive, one negative, because that makes the most sense. So the next negative we're going to talk about is customization, actually. So for a game that prides itself on customization, it's really, really, really disappointing that there isn't any new customization. Now, I'm going to put this little disclaimer here, because I know there's going to be a few nerds in the comments who are like, there is new customization! I'm talking for existing cars, there's hardly any new customization. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a bit, but you get my drift, you know what I'm saying. I'm going to go back to the live commentary now. Now, every year there's always one thing which people moan about and kind of becomes a little bit of a trend. This year it's been track width. You know, this year it's track width. So in Payback, was it Payback? No, it was 2015. It was 2015. It was the 350Z. That was the thing to moan about in 2015 was, where's the 350Z? I actually can't remember what it was in Payback. I guess it was just everything in Payback, because that game was terrible. But this time round, the thing that everyone's moaning about is track width. I get it does need to be there. It does need to be there, but it's not the most important thing to be moaning about. What worries me more is the fact that my R32, which is my favorite car, which I'm probably going to use for the majority of the game, has absolutely no new customization parts. The R34 still has, what, 3 or 4 bumpers, if that, including, you know, the stock bumpers. That's not on. Pretty sure the R32 has a normal bumper, a V-spec bumper, a Sunline bumper, and a Need for Speed bumper. It might actually only have 3 off the top of my head. There's still part restrictions for a lot of the cars. That is one of the biggest negatives for me. For a game that is centered around customization, they should have really focused on giving cars more customization, and I think just staying current. It's not even like I wanted to see tons and tons and tons of body kits for all the cars, but staying current. For example, the R32 has a Pandem kit, which is very, very popular. People have been screaming for Veilside kits for ages. All of that is more important to me than, you know, track width. An area which they have improved in this regard and affects all cars is BBS is back, and I don't think this is something which has been talked about. It's something which people moaned about but didn't really talk about. That is something which is huge, really good to see. But I think overall customization going into, you know, live service, I do hope they add more stuff in. They add more, you know, retro body kits into the game. We all know that the Mantis R34 is coming back. We all know that the M3 GTR with, you know, the sound and the body kits coming back. I do hope some of the lesser known ones also make a return, you know, some of the ones maybe from Pro Street, some of the ones from Carbon, etc, etc, because that just would be really cool to see. Number 2 of the positive points that are coming back with Need for Speed Heat is the police. The police in Payback were alright, but very limited. The police in 2015 weren't limited, but they were trash. They were limited in skill, I guess you could say. This time round, police are really good all round. From what I played a fair bit with the police at night time specifically. Oh my god, it reminds me so much of the older Need for Speed games, and even like Rivals. To me, that's a positive thing, because Rivals had really, really aggressive police, and that's kind of what we wanted to see, really, was more aggressive police. But then if you want to turn it off, you can go into daytime, and even in the nighttime, as long as you don't have any heat, you can still, you know, roam the city streets and not have a problem. All good stuff that we all wanted to see. I think the police are going to be one of the places where most people spend their time going into Need for Speed Heat. I'm not that big of a police person, but I can see myself spending hours with the police in this game. And the best part about all this is there is going to be a reward for those people that really do, you know, nail the pursuit with the ultimate parts that you're going to get at the end of pursuits and stuff. Again, I'm not going to talk about that too deeply, but the performance customization is also another positive, which we will talk about a little bit later. Anyway, going on to a negative, we're going to go ahead and talk about speedless. Now, I don't know, it feels like there's always a catch a little bit with these types of things. Like, in 2015, it wasn't there on launch. In Payback, online servers weren't there. And then in this game, it feels like there's always a little bit of a catch with online. It's never a progression of what was done before. It's always something taken away. And that has been the consistent theme of all the Ghost Need for Speed games up to this point. I don't understand why it couldn't just be in there and then they upgrade it later on. Now, I don't really understand the kind of argument of, well, no one plays speedless, because that's blatantly not true. I don't really know why it just isn't there. I play speedless a lot, and I wouldn't want him to be broken at launch, but surely they've got the resources to deliver at least an experience, a stable experience within speedless on launch. Like, they've got the base of it in Payback. All they've got to do is fix the de-ranking problems and the you know, some various matchmaking problems, but it's not like a humongous task. It's not like adding in online free roam all into the game. It's quite literally just fixing a few bugs. So I don't really understand why speedless isn't there. Obviously, if speedless aren't there, then surely modes like King and Infected are things that we're not really going to see at launch. So that goes under a big negative, is the online experience. I feel like that's going to be really, really tainted. I just don't feel like, not tainted is the wrong word, but like, it's just going to be a bit nullified, if that makes sense. I think going into this game, we all wanted Need for Speed to have infection modes and King modes, but instead it seems from what we've seen so far that it's only going to be open world free roam. Again, I can understand if it's going to be a fixed experience, but overall I'm not really happy with that, and I did kind of wish that the online experience was going to be more fleshed out, because keep in mind, Ghost Games have been making games, Need for Speed games more specifically, since 2013. So I did think that was going to be a bit more fleshed out, but I guess there is a few more important things to kind of figure out, and one of those is the handling. And the handling is a positive for me. This is one of the things which I think they have definitely improved on. Now, again, I've talked about the handling a fair bit, so I'm not going to, you know, beat a dead horse, but I do think it has been improved. It's definitely an improvement on what we've seen before. But it's not perfect, but it's getting there. Again, it's something we won't fully know how it completely works till we mess around with the game and actually get some hands-on with the cars in-game. But at the moment, from what I've played from the Gamescom builds, I'm really, really enjoying it. The handling is a plus. As a bit of a side note from that, I did say I was going to talk about performance customization. The performance customization is also a huge positive. There's progression, no speed cards. You know, you're going to be able to make the car how you want it. So if you want drift tires on, you can do that. If you want to make an off-road build, non-road build, you can do that. There's a lot of variation in what you can do with the performance customization, and that's something for me which is absolutely awesome. The fact also parts are locked behind, you know, progression and not paywalls is one step at a time. They're learning, so that's always a good thing. And those are kind of the main things out of the way with. My camera is actually dying, otherwise I would honestly go on for another 20-30 minutes about this. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and talk about this in a future Ask Hippo video. I'm changing the way I do Ask Hippos without rambling too much, so just keep an eye out for that if you want to hear anything more Need for Speed related. If you actually have any more questions, leave them down in the comment section down below, and I actually will draw from the comments in that Ask Hippo video. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome. Stay safe.